Hi, welcome to this episode of From the Syllabus. I'm Leigh A. Hall, PhD. You can find me at leahall39@gmail.com, and also be sure to check out my blog, leahall.wordpress.com, where I talk about issues of teaching and learning in higher education. Now, last time we talked about question of the day, and I talked to you a little bit about what question of the day is, why I use it, what students get out of it, and I will link to that video in the notes below. So if you did not see that, go check it out. Today, I'm going to share with you two techniques that I've used for implementing question of the day, because I like to vary how we have our discussions around these different questions. And so I'm going to share this week and next week some different techniques with you. All right, so here's technique number one. It's not number one because it's the best or anything. It's just the first one I got. So students come into class, and right off the bat, I have them review the questions. Remember, all the questions are on a Google spreadsheet. So I just put the questions up, and they've got their own devices. They take a look at them. Then they split into groups. Now, sometimes I assign groups. Sometimes I let them pick themselves. You obviously do what is best for you. Again, I try to typically keep groups at 5 because that's a really good number for discussion. When you get any more than that, then people start not to be able to have the chance to speak. And any fewer than that, 4 is okay, but definitely, any fewer than that, and there's not enough people there to really generate some good ideas. So split into groups, and then each group takes a look at the spreadsheet, and they pick one question from the list that they want to talk about. Okay, and it's fine if somebody in the group wrote the question. It's fine if nobody wrote the question. There's no guidelines here. Just any question on that list that you guys want to talk more about. And it's okay if another group also wants to explore the same question. You'll see sometimes I change this particular aspect up a little bit, but in this case, whatever. Highlight the question your group identified on the sheet, and then I give them about 5 minutes to discuss the question that they identified and then to share out. And, I'm flexible with this 5 minutes. It's somewhere between 5 and 10. I circulate, I'm listening, I'm taking notes. I might be talking and asking questions. And, I'm sort of getting a feel for when things are kind of starting to die down, and that's when I wrap it up. But about 5 minutes. Now, after they've shared their thoughts, I have them do something where they might explore some different readings. Maybe they're looking at some blog posts. Maybe they're looking at some news articles. Maybe we're watching a video as a class. It's something related to what we're talking about today that the questions were generated from. But the idea is that it's exposing them to more information, right? So they've done the readings. They've discussed the question. Now we're going to look at some more information. And then they're going to go back to their original question and discuss it with their group, okay? And then thinking about how, whatever it was that I had them do, watch a video, look at some readings, etc., coupled with listening to other people in class talk when we had that moment where we all shared our thoughts. How did all of that together sort of further their ideas on the question, right? And so they have, again, time to explore, talk about that. That's going to be about another 5 to 10 minutes. And then they've got time to share out and discuss as a class. And so this easily takes 30 minutes. This particular one, depending on if you haven't watched a video, could take upwards of 40 to 45 minutes, right? So that's the first technique. And usually, I'll revisit these techniques a couple times throughout the semester. That's one approach that I use. Here's the second one. Again, they're in groups. In the case of this one, I have assigned them groups, and you'll see why in a minute. And again, you could do this any way you want it. So they get in groups, and this time I said, pick a question that interests you, but it has to be something that a member of your group did not write. And I really just do that just to sort of break it up, right? To sort of force them to look at other questions that other people wrote, okay? Identify a question, mark it on the spreadsheet, and once it's taken, it's off limits to other groups, okay? So if group 2 claims question 4, that's it. Question 4 is off limits. And then they discuss the question. Now, the thing about this is it's going to move into a jigsaw technique, so each group member needs to be pretty well versed in the question and what their group talked about. They don't need to be experts on it. They just need to be able to talk about it with other students in the class. So after they've discussed the question, we reconvene into new groups, right? So now if there's 4 groups in the class, right, we're going to reconvene so that group 1 has a member from each of the 4 groups right in their group. It's a jigsaw group. And then each member has a few minutes to share the question that they looked at and what their group discussed. And then within this new group, they sort of think about, well, what's an idea or a question that we have that came from this discussion that we really want to share and talk about with the entire class. And so then when we're sharing out, each group says, here's an idea that we'd like to talk about more, or here's a question that we have that we'd like to put out there for consideration. And again, that can take 10 to 20 minutes right there, just doing that in part. So again, this is going to take somewhere between 30 to 45 minutes, depending on how talkative and into it your students get. But the nice thing here at the end, of course, is each member, right? Because each group, the groups have been reconfigured, right? So now everybody's heard about everybody's question and what they think. And so now we have these ideas or questions that are emerging collectively, having looked across questions. And it's a really nice way to get at some new ideas, to get at some higher level ideas and questions, and explore their thinking in different ways. All right, so if you liked this video, please subscribe to my channel. Every Monday, I release a video where I talk about teaching in higher education, talk about some of my practices, talk about things that are working well, let you know some things that aren't going so well, share some specific teaching techniques with you. So please consider subscribing. And then also in the feedback section, in the comment section below, please tell me what you think. Have you done question of the day? Are you trying it out? Have you used these techniques before in other ways? I'd love to hear how they worked for you. So drop me a line and let's chat.